also known as, sometimes it could be omniscient. I can't say this word. Omniscient. 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 Knowing all. We're going with that. It's Red Luck, Natalie Luck, however you want to call me. It's okay. We are covering points of view. You probably already know that because you clicked on this. All right. First person. You're using I, we, our, us. Second person, you're using you, your. And third person, you're using he, she, they, them. Now I'll go through your different options. First person, this is more intimate with the main character. Pros of this is that you're intimate with the main character. Cons of this is you're now looking at the world you've built through the main character's eyes and their filter. So can we trust them? Maybe you don't want the reader to trust this person. Little fun there. Second person. Second person is not done in fiction much, but it is in usually fan fiction, as well as some short stories is where you'll find it. As about as close to fiction is where you'll find it. Kind of putting the reader in the moment. So imagine, remember the movie Neverending Story? Oh God, don't get the song stuck in your head. Don't get the song stuck in your head. At the end of Neverending Story, Sebastian's sitting there with the book open and the Empress says, "You have to choose my name, Sebastian. Tell me my name." It went from a story that Sebastian was reading in third person to all of a sudden the book was telling him in second person he had to choose the Empress's name. Third person. Third person has many facets to it, but it can be dwindled down to two kind of sub facets of third person. There's third person close, or also known as limited, meaning it's really similar to first person in you're like a parasite inside the mind of the main character and you are getting their thoughts, their feelings, their reactions to everything. But you can also throw in a little bit of things that your main character doesn't see in third person limited. Just a little bit. So it's almost like having two people. You got your main character and the narrator in third person. Then there is third person omniscient. We're going to go with that. Omniscient. I can't say it. We're going to go with third person know-it-all. That one is not as trustworthy. We always have this chance of mistrusting the narrator, because if the narrator is omniscient, then the narrator can be questioned by the reader of what are they leaving out and why. Because they know everything, so they know the answer, so why are we dragging this out for new information later in the book? That's what I mean by that. Now, I will say there is a chance that you might end up using all three POVs. In my book, Therapy Sessions, we're talking, it's first person as the whole book. It's first person present tense, which I'll cover tenses in a second. My main character has a lot of internal thoughts and she speaks to herself in third person. She sometimes directly speaks to the reader in the sense of saying, you would think that I would know that, where she addresses you at times. And when we're choosing a POV, we're talking the novel as a whole, the short story, the novella, as a whole, whose point of view are we following here? Now, tenses. You got three tenses: past, present, future. People don't talk about the future that much, but I mean, maybe your characters are thinking about the future of what they need to do, setting a plan. Present tense is I'm going to the store. Past tense, I went to the store. Past tense is the most popular because we're telling a story, which means the story probably already happened. But present tense does have a sense of immediacy to it, and it can be utilized. Not a bad thing. And then future, your entire book will not be future, but there may be aspects of the book in the future. So the 4 questions to ask when you're trying to decide between first, second, you probably can rule that one out, and third person. All right. First question, is there one character we need to connect with or multiple? Because if you have multiple characters that you want to follow, that you want to kind of be close to them, third person might be more your forte for that very aspect, where we can be third person omniscient and have that connection with the characters where we see the slight eye wince when someone says something that's hurtful, or see those close natures, but we're not in their head, or we are in their head. Because there's also objective third person where we are just noticing the wince, but we don't know what their thought process is. We could probably assume with nonverbals, but we don't know. If we're connecting with one character, then you're left with the choice first person or third person limited. Question 2. Do we need to look at the world through the character's eyes? With that, is the character gonna miss some important aspects if we go through their eyes versus if we're in third person, where we can soak in other information than just what the main character is soaking in? Third question, is the journey mostly physical or internal? Now with this, yes, our physical journeys are also an internal journey. There is the character arc for your character to grow and better themselves. But if it's a mostly internal character development, we might be looking at third person limited or first person. If it's mostly physical, we might be looking more at third person, where we're going to be talking about what's being done in their interaction with the outside world and less inside their head of what they're going through personally. And the last question, this question could kind of set the place of all the other questions, but the other ones will help you get to where you need to be. The last question, how do you want the reader to interact with this story? First person is being retold through a filter. Recognize that. You might have an unreliable narrator. Third person, you have technically two people. You got your main character and the narrator. The narrator is going to bring up things that the main character maybe didn't notice, or give those descriptions that the main character just sees, but they don't describe for you. Do you want your narrator to be trustworthy? Do you want them to be objective? Do you want them to be omniscient and know everything, but then possibly be questioned because what did they leave out? All of these questions are going to hopefully point you towards which POV will work best for the story you're trying to tell. If you are still unsure after answering those 4 questions, grab a crucial scene from your story and write it in the 2 POVs that you're torn between. If you are still confused after that point of which one to go with, you can do 2 things. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, or grab a beta reader and ask their opinion. I would suggest grabbing 3 beta readers for that scene alone, but change up which POV gets read first. Best of luck choosing your POV. I will add a link after it's posted in a week. The video for should you have a multi-POV story. Stay tuned and happy writing.